Hello students, welcome to your grammar class. Today we are going to deal with the topic sentences, that is chapter 15 in your syllabus. Let us see the definition and some examples. A sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense. Now here in this definition, there are two key phrases that you have to remember. The first one is group of words. You have to have a group of words to make a sentence. The second phrase is makes complete sense. I will tell you an example. If I say Bhumika, Bangalore, car, what is this? These are group of words, right? But it will not make complete sense. You will not be able to understand the meaning of it. Yes, you will understand the meaning of the individual words, but you might not be able to connect all those words together and make one complete sense, isn't it? So, you have to have complete sense too. So, now if I say Bhumika is going to Bangalore by car, then it will be a proper sentence, isn't it? Let us see some examples. Aaron drew a picture. See, here in this sentence, the words are arranged properly. First, we have a noun, that is Aaron, or we can say the subject. He is doing an action, so we have wrote the word drew. Then there is an article, that is a, and then what he is drawing is said, that is a picture. So the words or the group of words are arranged properly, and that is why it is making complete sense to us. One more. Robert was a good king. Similarly, here also the words are arranged properly, and that is why we call it a proper sentence, because it is making complete sense. Now, every sentence is made up of two parts. In the definition, I told you that you need a group of words and it must make complete sense to you. Similarly, a sentence consists of two parts, that is the subject and the predicate. Let us see what do we mean by a subject. The subject tells us who or what the sentence is about. It is either a noun or a pronoun and may consist of one word or many words. Now students, you must think this, that in any sentence that we speak or make, there is one particular person or animal or place or thing or an idea that we are talking about, right? We cannot have any sentence without a proper subject. So, who or what the sentence is about is called the subject. ગુજરાતીમાં કહું તો જેના વિશે આપણે વાત કરીએ છીએ એને સબ્જેક્ટ કહેવાય. It can be either a noun or a pronoun also, like he, she or it, and it can be one sentence, one word or many words too. Now one more thing that you have to remember is, in imperative sentences the subject may not be stated, it is to be understood. Example, if I say shut the door. Now here shut the door is an example of imperative sentence. Imperative sentence means sentences that are of order or command, suggestions, request, advice, etc. So this sentence shut the door is also an imperative sentence because it is a order. Now here we know that what the sentence is talking. It is saying that shut the door, but we don't know who this action is suggested to. So we have to understand that it is talking about a person, that is you. So you or I or he would be the subject here. It might not be mentioned in the sentence, but we have to understand it. So sometimes in imperative sentences the subject is hidden, but we have to understand it. Now the predicate is what we say about the subject in a sentence. Here we can understand that what we say about the subject, what matter we say or what information we give about the subject is called the predicate. જે આપણે વાત કરીએ છીએ સબ્જેક્ટ વિશે એને પ્રેડિકેટ કહેવાય. it always has a verb. Of course, it consists of an action, that is a verb. And just like the subject, predicate can also consist of one word or many words. Let us see some examples of subject and predicate in a sentence. Our old computer crashed last week. Now, in this sentence, who are we talking about? Or what are we talking about? We are talking about an old computer. So, our old computer is what? It is a subject. And what are we saying about the subject? That it crashed last week. So, crashed last week is the predicate in this sentence. Is it making sense to you? Let us see some more examples. This new keyboard is very expensive. This is a sentence, right? Now, in this sentence, what are we talking about? We are talking about this new keyboard. So, this new keyboard is the subject. And what are we saying about the keyboard? What is happening to the keyboard, or what is it? So, it is very expensive. That is why is very expensive is the predicate. Please sit down. This is the sentence here. I told you an example earlier. This is just like that. Here we do not have a subject. Just the information is given. So please sit down is the predicate. Okay, what we are talking about is to sit down. But who we are talking about? We are talking about you. So you is the subject here, which is not mentioned, but we have to understand. The bells are ringing for recess. Same thing. What are we talking about? We are talking about the bells. And what are we saying? That they are ringing for recess. So the bells is the subject and are ringing for recess is the predicate. All these words that are highlighted in green is the subject and the highlighted ones in blue are the predicate. Now, we already learnt that a sentence is made up of a subject and a predicate. After that, we must know that there are different types of sentences too. Basically, there are 4 types of sentences. The first one is declarative or assertive sentence. These are statements or facts or general informations. Next, interrogative sentences. These type of sentences are questions that you ask. Next, imperative sentences. As I already told you, imperative sentences are the ones wherein you are giving a command, an order, or a suggestion, or an advice, or making a request. And the last one is exclamatory sentences. These sentences are sudden or strong emotions or feelings that you are expressing. Let us understand all these types of sentences in detail. Declarative or assertive sentences. Definition. Declarative or assertive sentences are statements. They end with a full stop. Now you must remember that all these different kinds of sentences have different punctuation marks. So, in declarative or assertive sentences, we always use a full stop. That is a must. And these are just plain statements. Some of the examples are birds fly in the sky. This is a general information, right? We all know it. It is a plain statement. Then, the car is white. Again, it is just an information. Dogs are cute. It is your simple opinion. So all these are examples of declarative or assertive sentences. And notice that all these sentences ends with a full stop. He is 8 years old. This is also some information that you are giving it to somebody, which is very general in sense. So it is a statement. Next is imperative sentences. Imperative sentences express orders, requests, or advice. They end with a full stop. You must understand that in imperative sentences, the punctuation marks is not always a full stop. There are situations wherein you can have a question mark also, an exclamation mark also, But 99% of the time, imperative sentences have full stop. Let us see some examples. Don't litter the streets with garbage. Now, this is an order, right? Imagine the government is telling you, don't litter the streets with garbage. Litter means to spoil or make it bad. So, it is an imperative sentence example. Mummy, please give me something to eat. It is a request. So, it is imperative sentence. Don't confuse yourself with declarative or imperative sentences. Imperative sentences will always have either order, command, request, suggestion, or advice as the meaning. So, when you read a sentence, you have to understand the meaning and then declare it, as in which type of sentence it is. Next, obey your elders. This is an advice. So, it is an example of imperative sentence. Now we come to the third type of sentence, that is interrogative sentence. Interrogative sentences asks questions. I already told you, right, that all the questions are called interrogative sentences. And here the punctuation mark that we use is question mark. It is always a question mark. Some examples are, how are you? Are you ready to go? Do you have your homework today? So these are some questions that you are asking somebody. So it is interrogative sentence. And the last one is exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory sentences show sudden or strong feelings. As I told you that it is sudden outburst that you do, and they end with an exclamation mark. Exclamatory sentences always ends with an exclamation mark. You cannot have a sentence which is exclamatory in sense but does not have an exclamatory mark at the end. So it is a must. You should not forget to put an exclamation mark when it is that kind of a sentence. Some examples are, that man is so tall. See, this is not just a simple statement or a simple information or your opinion. It is a sentence which is showing your sudden feeling. What kind of feeling? That you are surprised to see that such a tall man he is. So, it is an exclamatory sentence. Thank you, Sheldon. Here, thank you, Sheldon is an example of your strong emotion of gratitude towards the boy Sheldon. So, it is also an example of exclamatory sentence. Next, ice cream sundaes are my favorite. Now, this is your own opinion, but you have said it with a strong feeling. So, this is also an example. Now, you have already studied what are the different types of sentences. So, let us do a small exercise and do a quick revision to check if you have understood the concept clearly or not. First one, avoid junk food. What is this sentence meaning? It means you are given a suggestion. So if it is a suggestion, what does it mean? What type of sentence it is? Yes, imperative sentence. Have you ever eaten Greek salad? This is a question. So it is interrogative sentence. Yes, very good. How delicious the fruit cake is. This is a sudden expression, so it is an exclamatory sentence. And see, it also ends with an exclamation mark. The author of Harry Potter series is J.K. Rowling. This is just a general information or a fact. So it is a declarative or assertive sentence. Very good. May I borrow that book? You are asking permission from a person. So that is a question. So it is interrogative sentence. Very good. Can you please pass the salt? Now see, this sentence is a bit tricky. Why? Because it is a question and it is also ending with a question mark. But let me tell you, this is not an interrogative sentence. It is an imperative sentence which is just ending in the form of a question mark. Here the meaning of the sentence is requesting Can you please pass the salt? See, the word please is the usage we do to make a request. So this is an example of imperative sentence. Whole grains are an important part of a balanced diet. This is a fact. So it is a declarative or assertive sentence. Very good, students. I hope that you have got at least 6 out of 7 sentences correctly. Now, there are two ways that you can change a sentence into a question or a question into a statement. Let us see. Forming interrogative sentences. Often questions begin with question words like how, why, where, when, etc. We all know that what are WH questions, right? W stands for what, which, whom, where, why, when, etc. And H stands for how long, how much, all those. These are called WH words. Mostly all the questions are formed with the help of WH questions only. There are other types of questions that do not have question words. Now see, now I'm going to teach you how to form a question from a statement without using these question words. Okay. We follow certain rules to change statements into questions without the help of question words. Let us see. The first one is to form questions from statements in the simple present or simple past. We first split the verb as follows. Now, if the first you have to see that a question or a statement must consist of verb. So, when a statement consists of a verb, you have to see in what tense it is. Is it a simple present tense or is it a simple past tense? Then you have to split the verb and make it a question. Let us see. Notice this table very carefully. In the first column, we have simple present tense and the verbs that are used are likes, like, drinks and drink. So if the verb is in the form of simple present tense for a singular pronouns, then we use does like. We split it like that. If it is a plural noun like, we make it as do like. If it is drinks, we make it does drink. If it is drink, we make it do drink. So, when it is singular, we will use the word does, and when it is plural, we will use the word do. Now, when the verb is simple past, for example, liked or drank, then for liked, we will use did like, and for drank also, we will use did drink. The only thing that you have to be careful about is whenever it is past tense, we will use the word did. But the main verb, that is the root verb, will be first form. Liked will be like and drank will be drink. We then place the subject of the sentence between the two words of the split verb. Let us see how to make a question out of a statement. Sheila likes chocolate. This is a simple statement. Here Sheila is a singular person. That is why we used the verb likes in simple present tense. So when it is in simple present tense, what will we do? We will split it. And because it is singular, we will use does. So see, this is how we make a sentence into a question. Does Sheila like chocolate? They like chocolate. Because they is a plural noun, we are using like as a verb. So when we convert it, the answer would be, do they like chocolate? Be careful that the subject will be put in between the split verb. Ali liked chocolate. Here the verb is in past tense. So we will use the word did. And the subject will be in between. That is Ali. And the verb form will be the first form. That is the root form. So the answer would be, did Ali like chocolate? Next. Nitin drank a lot of milk yesterday. So drank is the past form, so we will use did, then we put the subject, that is did Nitin, and then drank we will use the first form, that is drink, and then complete the sentence, that is did Nitin drink a lot of milk yesterday? I hope this is getting clear to you. The second way of converting a statement into question is this. If the verb in the statement is, am, are, was, or were, we change the sequence of words to form a question. We all know that is, am, are, was, and were are the helping verbs in a sentence, right? So if they are present in a sentence, we use them to form a question and change the order. Let us see how to do it practically. Rani is a typist. Here we have the helping verb is. So we will put is in the first form and subject after that. And we will form a question. Is Rani a typist? I am a dancer. So it will be, am I a dancer? This is easy, right? You are a singer. Are you a singer? Farah was ill yesterday. Was Farah ill yesterday? They were tired. Were they tired? Good. The third way to convert a statement into question is, if you have two words, that is one helping verb like is, am, are, was, were, do, did, has, have, all those, and the main verb, then what you have to do is you put the helping verb at the first place. Let us see an example. Tarun has completed school. Here has is the helping verb and completed is the main verb. So we will put has in the first place and then we will put the subject. So we will get has Tarun and completed will remain as it is. So we will get the question, has Tarun completed school? Lindsay is eating grapes. Is Lindsay eating grapes? The main verb will remain as it is. You do not have to change the tense of it. You just have to change the order. We were singing prayers. Were we singing prayers? I hope this is clear to you. They had written many poems. So had will come in the first place, then the subject, that is they, and then the main verb and the remaining sentence. So had they written many poems? Now that we have understood all the three ways of changing a statement into question, let us do a quick exercise. She told him to be careful next time. Now here you see the verb, that is told. It is in the past form. So we will use did. And the answer would be, did she tell him to be careful next time? Very good. Aman was happy for being truthful. Here we have a helping verb, that is was. So we will put was in the beginning and make a question. And that would be, was Aman happy for being truthful? Next, she lives in Canada. Here the verb is lives, which is the present form and used for a singular noun. So we will use the word does. Very good. And the verb form would be live. So the answer is, does she live in Canada? Now I want you to also learn how to change the questions into statements. Is Sam's dog shivering? Now we know that here the helping verb is used to form a question. So we will put it in between. And the answer would be, Sam's dog is shivering. Clear? If I had given you this statement, Sam's dog is shivering, what will be the question that you will form? Is Sam's dog shivering? So this way you can tally if your answer is correct or not. Second, are we going to the football game? Here also the helping verb is put first and the main verb, that is going, is put after the subject. So the answer would be, We are going to the football game. Remember, students, in statements, the subject always comes first. Does Miss Wilson believe that everybody is watching her? Here, who is the subject? Miss Wilson. So, we will put Miss Wilson at the first place and we will remove does and we will make believe as the simple present tense. So, the answer would be Miss Wilson believes that everybody is watching her. So students, I hope this explanation was clear to you. You enjoyed the video and also understood all the concepts very clearly.